In this presentation, we're going to be looking at MotionBuilder's file referencing. File referencing in MotionBuilder is implemented using the API. This means that you can write your own custom tools using either C++ or Python. File referencing allows artists to manage complex datasets and nonlinear workflows. Artists can segment their large scenes and load only the parts that are needed to get better overall performance. So let's look at the workflow of importing some geometry into our scene using file referencing. So we'll go to the asset browser and we'll just go down to our scripts directory here, and we're going to go ahead and execute a Python script that ships with the software to start doing some file referencing. So this Python script actually has its user interface drawn with Qt. That's because MotionBuilder ships with PySide, so it allows us to create Python scripts with Qt UIs that feel very native to the user interface. So if I wanted to do something like dock it, I can. And you'll notice that the truck as well as the junk pile have actually been brought in as references. So what that means is this geometry doesn't actually live in this scene. It sits off on disk. Let's go ahead and look at the option for bringing in files using referencing. So let's go ahead and bring in another piece of trash here. We'll just grab this oil can. So for this example, I'm actually going to load two different instances of that oil can. And this is really helpful because if you were trying to set dress something and you wanted to put maybe 20, 30 trees somewhere, to have to go file import, 20 or 30 times would be very taxing. So we have the ability to actually specify the number of times we want to load an object in when we bring the reference in. So we'll go ahead and we'll say load. It always asks for a reference name. And the reference name is basically just adding a namespace to everything so that we don't have the same nodes with naming issues or clashing issues. So we have oil 2 namespace, oil drum 1, and then we have oil 1 as a namespace with oil drum 1. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and scale this, this little drum down here. I'm going to kind of snap it over to my character's hand really quickly. We'll just align it to that node and sort of get it into the general location of that arm. And we'll just position this, this oil drum sort of in his hand like he's drinking a soda or something. So we'll just do something like that. Drop that guy down really quickly. Kind of zoom in on there and bring up the options for his rig and do a parent operation. So what we've got now is we've got a referenced in piece of geometry that's been parented into the hierarchy of some nodes that were basically already in the scene, kind of non-referenced objects, and it obviously goes along for the ride. Now, at any given time, you can take an object that you've brought in, query the edits that have been done to it so you can see exactly what's gone into getting it to its kind of end result that we're seeing currently in the scene. And you also obviously have the ability to unload and reload geometry and substitute geometry at any given time using the file referencing. So it gives you the basic tools that you'd expect in a file referencing system. And again, this has been implemented using the API that's been opened up to support all these different types of referencing in both C++ and Python inside of MotionBuilder.